Okay, so I have been daily driving my LS swapped Wrangler for about a month now, and it has been fantastic. It's been reliable, fuel efficient, easy and fun to drive. Steering is still kind of all over the place, but overall, it's a good little driver. I haven't really had any major issues. I've had a couple little things here and there, and one of those things just came up yesterday, which was my shift cable. I knew sooner or later there's going to be an issue with it. As you can see, that's the fault. Before I had actually made my exhaust, I had started it up and drove it just around a tiny bit, and the header was pointing right at this plastic here, so it melted and stuck to the wire. So I just clipped around where it was stuck, and I knew it wouldn't last long without any covering, but it gave me about a month of driving. So yesterday I went down to the general store, grabbed the cable. I've just been driving with it. Just reach down and shift it to drive, and then put it in park so it'll start. And that's how I drove to work and everything yesterday. But I'm gonna throw this shifter cable in, and then we can go for a drive. Okay, so installing a new shifter cable is pretty straightforward and easy to do. It shouldn't take me really more than about 15 minutes to install it and adjust it, get it all set up. Just gonna feed this down through here. Luckily for me, it's pretty easy to do. I don't have like a bunch of interior stuff to remove. So I'm gonna feed that part of the cable down. Then I'm gonna go down there, route it how I want it to be. You just wanna route it so there's no like kinks or anything in it. And this side is pretty straightforward. You can see there's a little bracket here. It's gonna slip in behind there. You go find some hardware. So I can, it's like a nut and a bolt that can hold that guy in there. And then that piece just goes into there. And I have a little cotter pin that'll go in there. Just a nut and bolt right there, cotter pin right there. That's all it takes. So just hook up the bottom side and we will be finished. Okie dokie. There we are. Cable install is complete. You don't want to actually use cotter pins, just throw a couple zip ties in there. I'm sure she's good. Pretty straightforward. It's just looped perfect, so my front drive shaft will tear it up once it's installed. We'll see if that gives me the gears. I'll have to shift. Okay. Let's see how shifting into reverse feels here. Feels a lot nicer than I ever did. And see, neutral and drive. Down, back. Okay. That gives me drive. All right. Cable success. Detour just took me on a dead end here, but since I got this big long straight, I figured I'd just do a little from a stop acceleration. I don't have a speedometer, but you can look out the window and guess what's happening. it has such good torque. and it's like, compared to the 4-cylinder that was in here, it's such a world of difference. And to be able to get out and move, get in front of traffic, and just have that power is so nice to have. I just can't wait till I can get that front drive shaft in and have it in 4-wheel and feel what that power with 4-wheel feels like on off-road. So only good things to say about doing an LS swap so far. We'll see if I can find the right truck with the right drive shaft, and hopefully it's not a pain to pull it out, and hopefully it's not too expensive. It's actually a really nice day today. I'm trying to get this done before we get snow on the ground, before we get mud puddles under the trucks with the drive shafts. So hopefully we have some good luck in the junkyard. Okay, so I think I successfully found my donor truck. It's a 93 Silverado, and it has the same transfer case that I have, which means that it has the right hub U-joint thingy on it. So I'm gonna find something I could lay down under this puddle to crawl under it and see if I can unbolt it. Okay, so after finding some nice people to borrow some tools from, I got my drive shaft out. And that is the piece that will adapt up to my transfer case. Hopefully it's close enough in length. Not sure yet, but it's out. I'm on my way out of here. All right, so it's been a couple weeks since I last filmed going to Spalding's and pulling that drive shaft out and everything. And this is why I wanted to get everything finished early, because I could really use 4-wheel drive right now. I just had to use my winch to make it up my driveway. So I dropped all that stuff off at a driveline shop today. They're gonna get it. He's gonna cut it. He's gonna put a different front yoke on it so it'll bolt right up to my front diff. And he's also gonna lengthen it and balance it. He said it should be done by tomorrow. So hopefully within the next couple days, I'll have 4-wheel drive working on this thing, because man, this winter is gonna be really rough if I don't have 4-wheel drive in this thing. Okay, so hopefully today is the day that 4-wheel drive happens. I'm here in my buddy's shop for the day. He's got a full lift, so I've got to throw some springs in the rear of this thing so I can roll it out. Then I can roll my Jeep in. It's just going to be so much easier to remake the exhaust and throw the driveline and get the shifter stuff hooked up with it being up in the air, not having to crawl under it. So this is my drive shaft that I had made, and pretty happy with it. It only cost me $125 to have it made, which is a lot better than I was thinking for somebody having to cut, balance it, and weld a different yoke on it and whatnot. So we'll see how this progresses. Hopefully it goes smoothly. I want to hurry up and get this done before it snows again. All right, so an update for you guys. I got my Jeep here up on the lift, and I was just double checking my drive shaft, how it looked, and the clearance in here. Nothing's bolted up, it's just sitting here. But looks like it's gonna fit perfectly. I was super concerned about clearancing this stuff, my shifter, but the guy who made the drive shaft was able to use a smaller diameter than what I had brought him. So it looks like everything's gonna clear perfectly, which is fantastic. I am bolting my exhaust here, my muffler back there, but exhaust is gonna be a little tricky. So I'm gonna have to remake this portion of my exhaust here. That might be a little bit of a nightmare. And then I have to, I don't even know how I'm gonna make the linkage to get this thing to shift, because I'm gonna try using part of the Jeep transfer case linkage and then adapting that to a Chevy transfer case. Luckily it's not like it's all, this thing's gonna fall. Okay, it's all in a straight line going from, 2 high to 4 high to 4 low, or whatever pattern it is. Luckily it's not like down, over, and up or something, like some, you know, different transfer cases use different ways to shift it. So hopefully it's straightforward and not too bad. But yeah, very happy to see that this is gonna fit in there. So I don't have to use my winch to get up my driveway anymore. Okay, so I've made a bit of progress here. I'll show you kind of what I'm working with next. The driveline is all bolted up. So that is in there for good. I saved all these pieces from the factory shifter. So this is the bracket that mounts to the body. I didn't have the original hardware, so I had to drill these out and use a longer bolt and just put a nut on it. So this piece here is the pendulum that pivots. This upper arm, there's an arm just like this that's right above it that connects to the shifter inside the cabin. That'll transfer basically just to be able to push this rod back and forth. But my issue right now is that I need it to be supported on the other side. There's a little dowel just like that. It sticks out the other side. And originally that bolted to the Jeep 5-speed transmission. Obviously I don't have a bracket to bolt to a GM 4L60E. So I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is fabricate a little bracket that will hold that end of the rod. And then there's a bolt that goes, this bolt right here. I'm gonna make a bracket that'll, you know, take this bolt out, bolt up to that spot, reach up and hold the pendulum steady. I think I'll probably need 2 angles to really be able to like triangulate it and make sure it doesn't pivot. Because right now, if I shift inside the cabin, it just moves this. It has to be sturdy for it to be able to shift the transfer case. So that's the tedious stuff that I'm dealing with, trying to make this work. And then it'll be kind of challenging to adjust the linkage to get the right throw. I don't even know what the shift pattern is. I'm gonna have to look it up, but making progress is just tedious, getting all these little things done. Okay, so this is what I was able to come up with. This little bracket. So that little hole, it'll get bolted up like that. And then the washers, I have, I don't know, 3 or 4 washers stacked up, and that'll support the other side of the pendulum. So it's really kind of tricky trying to figure out those angles because they're nothing square on it. It ain't pretty, but it hopefully it'll do the trick. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I believe that bracket was a success. I don't think I need a 3rd arm on there to triangulate it. I'm obviously gonna have to secure like a shifter cable and a ground cable up there. So that'll get sorted out, but this piece is solidly in there. When I go up top and shift it, it does click the T-case. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more adjustment to be able to get it to shift how I want. But for now, I'm gonna move on to figuring out this exhaust. That way I can actually, you know, drive it and then tune the shifting adjustment from there. See, you know, I just went straight down, straight back, out through there. I think my best bet is gonna be to try to come around here and over. It's gonna be kind of tricky, so I'll probably end up, man, that's gonna be rough. Well, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet for this, but I will check back in once I have a little bit better idea of what I'm working with here. Okay, so I figured out my plan of attack for the exhaust system here. I went ahead and just chopped this side off. So here's that piece I cut off. And what I just did is I lowered my Jeep back down to the ground because obviously this drive shaft is going to be a lot higher up when the suspension is loaded. So, because I was thinking, oh, maybe I should try coming in here, tucking it close to the transmission. But once I'm bottomed out, that's not really an option. So I am gonna have to come through this side. I feel bad cutting this thing up. It was nice and pretty. Well, for as far as the exhausts that I've made go, that I was kind of proud of that. So hopefully I'll still be proud of it once I'm finished remaking it. We're getting there. Okay, so I made it. I'll show you what I have going on here. I have everything bolted up right now. So I had to make a cut here to open this angle up so it could run flat. This curved piece I have looks like it'll work for the clearancing the drive shaft. I make a couple cuts here to be able to bring the angle in back up to here. And this, I just have a couple tacks on it. It's pretty ugly. It's not a, you know, this pipe is still cut where it has a large piece hanging off. My idea is that maybe once I get this welded up a bit, I can hammer that in and weld it. But I think that's about how it'll be. It's certainly hanging quite a bit lower than my trans shield cross member thing, but it's definitely a lot higher up than the differentials are. So, I mean, at least it's not the lowest part of the rig. That would definitely be bad if your exhaust was the lowest part. So eventually I want to run 35s. It'll be lifted up a bit more. I have 33s on it. So it wasn't so bad. Went a little easier than I thought it would. I mean, it's not done yet, but we will, I'll unbolt it, get it all welded up, and bolt it on. Is my remade portion of the exhaust. Everything's sealed up and welded. I added just a little bit of heat shield here because I actually have like all my wires going into my ECU run fairly close to that. So they're really well insulated and shielded, but I just put it on there for kicks. So now I'm gonna bolt this up and hope that it still fits how it did the last time. All right, well, we did it, and it bolted up, fit perfectly. See that side, the mounting surface is nice and happy and flush. Plenty of clearance here, and that's all the way suspension bottomed out, so it's only gonna get better once I drop it down on the ground. I threw my muffler back on, so sweet. I just gotta plug in my O2 sensors, and then there will be more adjustment for the transfer case linkage, but for now it is like 5 p.m. I haven't eaten today. I'm ready to wrap this up and eat some hot food, so pretty happy with those results. Can't complain about that.